Hello everybody, and welcome back to Everything Happens for a Reason. So, I have Kez with me today.
Hello.
This is the woman that's usually behind the camera, and today she has to be in front of it.
Yeah, that doesn't make me feel great, to be honest. Now I know what my clients feel like. I want to get back behind that camera.
Do you? I love how you're sitting there with your eyes closed, like, I don't want to see what's happening. How do you feel being in front of the camera? Talk to us.
You know, it's one of those things that I'm always conscious of what I have to say. There's a lot that goes on in my head.
Okay.
So I don't always need the world to know.
It's fine. If we need to chop anything out, we can.
So yeah, I think it's one of those, a lot of videographers and photographers will not really get in front of the camera, and I think it's important. I think there's nothing worse than booking a shoot and not actually knowing who's
showing up.
is, like who's going to rock up here and take these photos. So I think it's an important aspect, but yeah, I just don't have that much to say to the world. Which is funny because I talk a lot.
Yeah.
It doesn't need to be.
And before this shit, she gave me a pre-warning, like, please don't let me go off that. Please keep me on a straight and narrow.
There's no way this is only going to be 40 minutes, but we'll rein it in.
We're in it in. I love it. And can you give us a little bit of background about yourself? How did you get into videography?
You know what? Whenever anyone asks me about my background, it makes me want to go into my corporate version and be like, hello everyone, I'm Keziah Marcus, and go into like...
What were you doing in corporate? I
was a senior manager at a telecoms company. So completely different world. Construction, fibre telecoms in the UK. So yeah, it feels like a bit disjointed. How have I gone from that corporate career into this creative space? But definitely a transition and a move that I wanted to... Well, I didn't know I wanted to make it at the time.
Okay.
It was all a happy... Let's rephrase that. It was all
not so happy.
It was a happy coincidence. It wasn't. I got into photography. So actually, if we go right back, I've always been extremely creative.
Okay.
From a very young age, and I wasn't very academic. I really struggled in school for various different reasons. I didn't really leave with many qualifications, and I was very much a practical learner, and I loved being creative ever since I remember. But I think I had like a chip on my shoulder, a little of a complex about the fact that I wasn't very academic, and I didn't see myself as very professional or well educated. So stepping into the corporate world really helped me refine that. And a lot of the time it was kind of pushing myself into a position that wasn't very much aligned with who I am, but it made me feel validated from the
100%.
world.
Yeah, I totally get that, especially in school, right? Because like I was really, really good at art at school, but loved it, absolutely loved it. But everyone was like, what are you going to do with that? Do you know what? It's like, you're going to draw, I'm the next Picasso, leave me alone. Like, but that's the thing. It's like almost frowned upon to be like interested into something that's not law, science, freaking accountancy, like everyone's being pushed down that route. So especially if you did, for example, struggle throughout school, it's very natural that, like you said, you're almost chasing that validation of like proving that you're good enough, right? And that you can do this without going through that.
And I definitely my entire life have had this huge complex of I must beat the statistics.
Yeah.
I must be every negative statistic. Every time someone's told me I can't do something, I'm extremely...
Watch me.
Yeah, exactly. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to get it done. I'm very, very stubborn, very determined, quite ambitious. But that actually manifested probably in, I wouldn't say the wrong way, because actually it's allowed me to have the business that I have today, and it shaped me into who I am. But when I look at the position that I got to, and I looked around at everything that I'd achieved, I was kind of like, oh, I'm not happy, I'm not fulfilled, I'm chronically exhausted. I'm doing everything that I should be doing on paper. I have more than everything I ever expected I could even achieve. Yeah. Why am I not happy? Why do I have no fulfillment? But I was also kind of complacent in a way, because I was still working forward in my career, and I was still, again, getting promotions and being seen as successful and accomplished so much. It was one of those catch-22s where it was like, well, I'm chronically exhausted and I'm not that happy, but I can do this, so I'm going to keep going.
Yeah, this is the next best thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And it wasn't until one day that I woke up and I kind of looked around and I had a conversation with my now ex-husband where it was, we've done all of this. We've bypassed, you know, all expectations that everyone else had of what our life could be. And we're not happy. But hang on, society tells us that if you get these things, you will be happy. That's what you should strive for.
Yeah.
So we kind of sat there in a 4-bedroom house on the edge of the Cotswolds, like married, 2 dogs, you know, nice cars on the driveway, both very, very good in our careers. And we're like,
Well, this isn't it.
this isn't it.
Yeah.
And it was at that point where, okay, now I need to assess what's going on in my life to see if there's something that does need to change. And I think for me, it was, let me step back into my creativity. And that's when I picked up the camera again. So I love photography. And what had happened was, because I was very creative in terms of like artwork and stuff like that. But now as a professional managing a team of 25 people, I do not have time to be trying to sit there and draw. So
I will not be Picasso.
I will not be Picasso. That is not on my cards. So it was, what else can I do? And then I went through my drawer and picked up this old Nikon, like very old Nikon camera that I'd got when I was 15 years old. And I was like, oh, I'll just start photography again. And it just started with me doing a few little shoots with my dog, Hercules. He's the best business partner in the world.
He's always supporting you, always see it.
He's always there, always. So it was taking pictures of Hercules, and then it was, okay, let me actually invest in some more equipment. Let me invest in my education here. And then I kept investing. And I was like, okay, this is hurting the pocket quite a lot now. And I'm loving it, but I'm doing a lot of time for photo work, which is all based on experience. So, you know, going into gyms and taking photos of my friends. And I've been in the fitness industry now for, a decade. God, that makes me feel old.
What age are you?
I'm 27 next week.
Oh, so same age as me.
There we go.
Yeah, we're fine. We're still young,
it's
young
funny.
and wild.
It's funny because I'm not old, but I think I've been perceived as old because I'm divorced.
Yeah.
So everyone's like, you must be old. And I'm like,
must
no.
be in your 40s. No.
Yeah, no, I just got married fairly young.
I get you.
So, what tangent did I go on then? What were we talking about?
You were saying about, you started off photography. It was taking up a lot of your time in terms of like having to do your photography hours.
So with being in fitness, I started going to bodybuilding shows, capturing content for my friends mainly, and it was time for photo work. I'd invested quite a lot into the equipment that I was using and then my education. And I thought, you know what, it's time to make this a business. But I was doing it out of passion. So it was really just, you know, it wasn't like trying to make a load of money or anything like that. I was just trying to, you know, make something back based on what I'd put in. And eventually I started getting to the point where I was doing more and more shoots, and I'm still managing doing 40 hours a week in corporate. And then all of a sudden my shoots are increasing. And now I'm actually getting people messaging me asking to work with me. Whereas before it was me reaching out for people and
please let me take a photo of you.
Yeah, I was like, you look great. Can we do a photo shoot? So it was switching that mindset from, okay, this started as a hobby, but now I actually want this to be a business and I want it to be something bigger. And that's where the name comes in, Zenith Vision. And Zenith means the highest possible point of reach, and vision is us striving to get there. And it's not just for me, it's for everyone that I work with. And you can look at it in all different aspects of your life. So, you know, from a fitness side of things, everyone's always striving to be the best version of themselves, the healthiest version of themselves, look the best, feel the best, be the most confident. And then from a business side of things, when I started stepping more into that space, it's okay, these people are building brands and they're helping people and they're creating a bigger impact. And it's like, I want to be part of that. I am so invested in my clients in terms of what they do. And especially, it's one of those debates that I've had in the past of, do I go more corporate with my photography? Do I start approaching corporations, doing bigger events, charging a lot more money? Or do I niche down and stay in the fitness industry? And why do I want to be in the fitness industry? It's because I can see the impact that online coaches actually have on people's lives. And it's so much greater than I think some of them can even realize. You wouldn't notice day to day. You're speaking to however many clients every single day. You don't realize that that could be the highlight of their week. That could be the thing that has given them the confidence to do something new. That could be the thing that has kept them going when they're in a really dark place. And I think from my own experience in terms of my fitness journey, I know the impact that my coaches have had on me. So I think, and it's not just on me, it's a domino effect.
Yeah.
It's on everyone else in their life, because the more confident that you feel based on what you've put in, the work that you've put in. So, you know, being active again, having your nutrition, getting that energy back, being confident, it impacts everyone around you as well.
100%. And like even the way you show up, like in your business, in your job, in your relationships, right? Everything does fall into that, and it's just energy you're radiating. Because if you're somebody that's low in confidence, low self-worth, not feeling good in yourself, always covering up, you're going to be a shadow of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas now you're walking into rooms flicking your hair, you know?
Absolutely. And I think that's the thing with online coaches, especially individuals or even people with a small team. They don't get any real recognition. You know, you'll get a response in check-in. Sometimes you'll get thanks and you'll have clients that show gratitude, but you won't necessarily ever see the true impact. And that really came to home with me when I traveled out to Dubai with a client and I was doing some shoots. This was before I went full-time and moved out here. And me and my coach actually sat down, we had a conversation, and we were talking through some of the hardship that I went through at the end of 2024. And I was expressing thanks for everything that he did. And he was like, I didn't even realize.
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was that bad. I didn't realize the impact that, like, he didn't realize the impact that he'd had on me at that time. And it clicked in my head. I was like, yeah, because I actually probably didn't express it that much. I would have said thank you, but I'm not gonna.
You're not gonna deep it, right?
No.
Yeah.
And also, I'm. This is so ironic, and I'm just such a paradox, right? I used to be an extremely private person.
Okay.
I'm quite an open book now, as you probably know from the times that we've spoken. But I used to be extremely, extremely private. So at the time when I went through a really, really bad mental breakdown, PTSD, really extreme, rock bottom, essentially, at the end of 2024, I wasn't speaking to people, wasn't telling anyone anything. I was very much isolated.
In your own bubble.
Mm-hmm. I still had shoots and I still had my corporate job. So it was one of those times where it felt like everything that I'd spent 10 years building had just gone in a month.
Yeah.
And just to give a little bit of context so we actually know what that looks like, as I mentioned before, 4-bedroom house in the Cotswolds, had a husband, I had 2 dogs, I had a nice car, a great career. Within the space of a month, it felt like I lost all of it. And I was sat alone in this 4-bedroom house, not knowing what to do, where to go, but still having to get up and show up in this corporate job, show up for these clients that I'd already had shoots booked in for, and also navigate. How do I navigate this PTSD? I was in a really bad way. I was extremely suicidal. I didn't want to be here anymore. Hercules, he's a gem.
We love Hercules.
Hercules was one of the main things that kept me going, because where I lived was isolating as well. I didn't have friends and family around that area. So I was very much kind of in this bubble of, I just need to survive this and get through this heartache and this position that I'm currently in. And really, I say 2024 was the hardest part of my life, because actually, even though a lot of the events that had happened before that, they were from my childhood, they were from different experiences I had before, I was only really facing them at the end of 2024.
Yeah.
That's when it hit me in the face that actually part of all of the ambition, part of everything that I'd accomplished was me being me disassociating from emotion and being fiercely ambitious, trying to prove people wrong. So I was so distracted with how busy I was. And of course, I kept getting, it's like a carrot there, I kept getting rewarded for it. in the corporate world, promotions, they come and go. But to be in one company, I had 6 promotions in 4 years, which is completely unheard of. I don't know anyone else who managed to go through that. And this is an individual that doesn't have a degree. I'm not highly educated. I just worked extremely hard, put my mind to everything that I did. And I had some people who heavily influenced and supported me along that journey to get me there. And now all of a sudden I was facing that reality of I've not addressed or dealt with anything that I went through as a child. I've not addressed with any of it. And the scenario that put me into that PTSD episode brought it all up, and it slapped me in the face, and it brought me right down to the bottom of that cliff, and I did not know how to get out of it. And it was really, really challenging. And to bring it back to what I was saying then, the only consistency that I had still was my coach.
Yeah, you're still showing up every week for,
And it was funny because I did actually try to leave. He didn't let me.
I love that.
Not that he didn't let me. He just said, do you think this is a good idea based on everything going on? So I'd lost 10 kilos in 6 weeks. I was really, really unwell, really unhealthy. My health was in a bad way, as well as my mental health, of course. My physical health was pretty poor. And I was still trying to show up, still trying to go to the gym, still trying to manage all of these other things as well. And I think, going into 2025, I was like, enough is enough. I'm not going to keep carrying this heavy emotional weight. I did a hell of a lot of work, research, healing if you want. But more than anything, it was gaining self-awareness as to why I was the way that I was. Why did I feel these things? Why was I so horrible to myself? Why did I not have any compassion for me? Why did I hold myself to these high standards that were actually probably unattainable, unachievable? That level of self-awareness was the thing that started helping me get through, alongside other things like therapy, ice baths. I'm a bit of a weirdo. I sat in an ice bath for 45 minutes once.
Fuck off. But she's literally like freezing in here, going, somebody put the aircon off, it's freezing in here. Went for a bath in an ice. Went for a bath in an ice bath.
45
minutes. A literal bath.
Yeah. I was going through something.
You were numb.
Day.
You were fully numb, like didn't feel anything.
Emotionally, physically done.
That's so funny. But it worked. It helped.
It has helped, and I still go in ice baths once a week. I'm not quite as extreme.
Not 45 minutes anymore.
Not 45 minutes, no. But I figured out a tool belt of things that would help me whenever I'm in a bad way. And I think 2025 was such an interesting year, because actually, when I say I felt like I lost everything then, 2025 was I've got to deal with all of this now, and I've got to determine who I am. What do I want? What does alignment look like for me? So that's when I went, you know what, Zenith, in this business, I can take it further. And it started with coming to Dubai in January.
Love that.
And so kindly supported by one of my friends. It was my friend's idea. And she was like, look, I'll pay for your Airbnb, and I'll pay you to get some content for me whilst we're out here. So we came to Dubai. And I'd been to Dubai the year before, and there's a video of me in 2024 in an apartment in the marina saying, I would love to live here. January, I'm now out here with one of my best friends, and I'm working and I'm getting paid to be here. And I was like, oh, this is the life. This could be an option. And I ruminated on the idea, and I thought, yeah, that's the direction that I think I want to go down. But also, I've got a lot of stuff to deal with. Yeah. So the house was in the process of being sold. I was actually in the process of purchasing a new one. And I think it was 3 weeks before completion, it fell through. And this was just after I came back from Dubai as well. I was like, the universe.
Everything happens for a reason.
Exactly that. So the house fell through. But again, I still did all of the damn paperwork to get there as well. Managing my corporate job, we were actually doing redundancies at the time, which was quite heavy emotionally. This is my team, 25 people that I'm very invested in their lives. People who have just got married, just had children, just purchased house, and now I'm having the conversation to say, I'm really sorry, but
you were in that position thinking, I want to make myself redundant.
Not quite then. I wasn't ready for it then, but yeah, it was heavily emotionally weighted. And then I sold my car, and now I've sold my house and I don't have anywhere to live. I'm homeless. I was like, I'm carless and I'm homeless. How did I go from owning a 4-bedroom house in the edge of Cotswolds and married, and now I'm carless and homeless and in the process of getting divorced? What's going on?
Yeah.
And again, at this point, I'm just reestablishing that business and the foundations of the business. So it was a lot to manage and juggle at once. I came back to Dubai in May. I went to Toronto with work, which was an incredible opportunity as well, in June. And I started the process of registering my business out here, then doing the visa process, and all of that whilst trying to manage like training, nutrition, also continuing on that mental health journey, if you like. And it was one of those where I look back now at 2025 and I don't think I realized just how much had happened and how many major life changes I decided to do all at once. You know, some people say that the most stressful thing that you'll do is moving house. Like, okay, well, I'm going to move house. I'm going to quit my job. I'm going to start a business. I'm going to get a divorce. I'm going to move to a new country.
Sell my house, sell my car.
All in 1 year, which was
a lot.
It was a lot. So when I got to Dubai, I realized it's almost like I'd been so engrossed in just work hard, just do more. I was getting less than 5 hours sleep every night, and that might feel like an exaggeration, but it was just my reality. I had no choice. Like, I very much felt like I had no choice. I took a lot of responsibility on because I had to take control of my life.
Yeah.
And I had to create what I wanted to create out of it. And no one could do it for me. No one can speak to the lawyers for me. No one can manage my job for me. No one can run my business for me. I have people that I can rely on and would want to help, but they couldn't. So what I asked from my loved ones was, please just give me the space to be able to do this, because I don't have the time or the energy to give back in the way that I want to. I can't show up for me the way that I want to, let alone anyone else. I just need to get this done. And then moving to Dubai, in theory, the load has reduced, and it did. And now I'm focused on the business and my training and nutrition and my mental health. But it's like I was addicted to working hard. And it's my reality that's all I've known my entire life is hustle, 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 hustle. Work hard, be ambitious, do more, do more, do more, do more, do more. But all of a sudden it doesn't align with my values anymore. I don't work hard for money. I work hard because I want the freedom to be able to take a step back, to go a little bit softer again, not have this big like protection wall in front of me all of the time like I've had. But it took my health getting to a really bad point in around November time for me to realize I'm still addicted to the hustle, and I don't actually need to be. I don't need to be having less than 5 hours sleep anymore. I can control my schedule better now. I can still show up for me. And it was, I need to learn how to
slow down. Yeah. It is scary from that perspective though, isn't it? Because like you said, like initially growing up, like by going into that corporate job and chasing more, you were also starting to reap the rewards, right? And you had the financial freedom, you had what people would consider the perfect life, and at the time you probably viewed it as that as well. But whenever then you were sitting in it and you're like, I'm not actually fulfilled. I have all the things that are meant to make me happy, but it's not that you weren't happy maybe at the time, but it was just, there's always more, right? And we're always chasing for more. And obviously from the nature in terms of how you grew up and how you were always looking for having like somebody dangling that carrot in front of you, it's very, very hard to take a step back. But this is the thing, your body's always going to catch up on you, you know?
Oh yeah,
it did.
And it sent me. And then of course it's the reality of, well, it's just me in this business.
Yeah.
So if I can't operate it, and I'm going to let my clients down. And again, like I say, I believe in my clients' brands. My worst nightmare, what would keep me up at night, is feeling like I failed my clients. because I believe in their vision and I believe in their brand. So I really had to take a step back and then also assess, okay, you know, I need to put in some boundaries here too. I can't just say yes all the time because I want to help everyone. No, you need to make sure that you take that time to protect yourself and your energy as well. And it's been a learning curve in its own right, but one that I have been so grateful for. And it's so interesting too, because society and observation from even family members and stuff will look at me now and think that I've taken a step back, and financially I actually have, which is interesting because you don't think that usually when people move from the UK to Dubai, but that's the reality. I had a very good salary when I was in the UK, so, and then selling the house and everything, I spent my life savings to make this transition. So actually from a financial aspect, I'm probably worse off than I have been. It's restarting it over. It's starting again from scratch without any safety net. And, you know, the past version of me would probably think I'm absolutely insane. Yeah, she would. She'd be riddled with anxiety. And I think it's so strange now because it's like this false sense, not even a false sense of confidence, but I've just got blinding belief that regardless of my current circumstances or the hardships that I might face, I trust myself that I can get through it. It's going to
work out.
It'll be absolutely fine. So let's not deep this one.
Yeah, love it. Absolutely. But you know what? Sometimes you do have to be like that, especially maybe like with how much you had to deal with last year. It's a reflection of, if I did all that at once and I came out the other end and I'm happier now, I'm living somewhere I want to be, I run the business that I always wanted to run, you know, and you're excited about getting up for your sunsets every morning, sunrises every morning. Fucking Kez. Honestly, I wake up at like 9 o'clock. I'm like, this bitch is out walking the dog at sunrise again. She's already finished her day and I'm just waking up.
It's so funny, isn't it? You know what? Even at the event that we were at, I feel like everyone was looking at me like I was mad, because once I finished work and I put my camera down, I'm looking around and I'm like, 3 months ago I sat in London arguing about telegraph poles, and now I'm in a villa and I'm paid to be here.
No, she was so funny. So we went to an event. Connor Carlson, shout out. But yeah, you basically organised the event, the way we're gonna look at it. You were running it.
I was being the hostess of the most.
Certainly
did.
Yeah. But anyway, if we all needed something, we would just look over at Kes, and she's just sitting there. It's like, isn't it amazing? We're all in a villa. We're all happy. There's a big pool in front of us. So like, guys, look, the sun's coming down. You can see the moon. Isn't this amazing? And you know what? You brought the energy with that though, because it's so refreshing to see somebody so like grateful for all the little things. Do you know what I mean? Like it was honestly so refreshing, because you were just happy to be there.
Oh my gosh, that's just me. That is just me. I think, you know what, when you've had so much chaos in life and you're just like, I just want peace. I'm quite basic. I'm like, put me in front of the sunset and I'm happy as
that's
anything.
That's
even ambient lights, just light a candle. I'll probably sit there smiling at it, as wild as that sounds. But I think for me, you know, there's been so much that has happened in my life in terms of my whole story, and I don't tend to deep like the same things that normal people in society would.
Yeah.
But then I am very, very deep and very curious whenever I think there's an opportunity to learn something, whether that's about myself or you know, help someone else through their journey. And because I'm constantly on screens, whether I'm editing or behind the camera, when I can have that moment to look up and see the world as it currently is, I'm just like, wow, this is so beautiful, so peaceful.
I love it. And do you feel fulfilled in the position that you're in at the minute?
That's such an interesting question, because I think I'm sat in a point where I can see so much potential, so much opportunity. I'm just sat on it at the moment, and I'm working through it, and I'm trying to see what the right direction is. And I feel like I've got clarity in terms of what is the life that I want to create, and how do I want to show up in this world? How do I want to help people? Yeah. How do I want to be good in this world that can be really hard and really evil in a lot of ways? I feel like I have clarity there, but I don't know how to fully get there and actually make that impact that I want to. So It's only 6 months since I've been running the business full time, so which isn't really a long time in the grand scheme of things, but mind blowing to me that I've lived in Dubai for 6 months. Crazy.
It flies, doesn't it?
It completely flies by. So in terms of everyday fulfillment, in terms of the clients that I'm working with, in terms of the product that I'm producing and I'm putting out there, I definitely would say that I have it. But whether that's the final product of what Zenith looks like, we're very far away from it. I've got quite big ambitions. It's another reason why I went for a name like Zenith Vision rather than, you know, Captured by Kez kind of thing. Yeah. Because I see this as a greater piece. And, you know, I always say as well, I'm not just a videographer. I never have been just a videographer. I get invested in the brands that I'm working with, what they are actually trying to achieve, and more importantly, who they are. Because that's how I get the best out of them on camera. That's how we portray them in the right way over social media, which has then led me into content strategy. And actually, with the transition and the move to Dubai, it's how do I still service my UK clientele, which has been content strategy and remote consultations on that side of things. So there is a vision of what Zenith Vision is, that it isn't there yet. Yeah. And of course, you build that, you grow that. And I'm just about getting to the point of stability in the business. And I'm hoping that I can start moving to a point of scale, but not scale in the traditional sense of just wanting to make more money and more revenue. The main things that I want is I want to be able to impact and help more people. And I also want to have more freedom back so that I can really give myself that time to just have some peace.
Yeah, absolutely. And just sort of like, you need to tap into yourself and your feminine, especially because obviously like that hustle mentality, you're so tapped into your masculine all the time. And it's really hard as a business owner, no matter what it is that you do. But like you said, it's like, you know, deep down that you crave that sensitivity and you crave that just looking at the sunset and enjoying yourself. Do you know what I mean? So you need to make more time for that.
Exactly. You know what? Masculine versus feminine traits has been something that I've been like sat on and pondered for a while, because I tend to sit in logic. I've done that most of my life, but to an extreme point of I disassociated from all other emotion, and then never felt anything until it would crash, and it would be quite heavy then. So I naturally sit in logic, but also I've seen myself at a more feminine self, and even now when I'm away from the things that I almost have to be a bit more masculine in. Yeah. I'm quite feminine, but it's just that opportunity to be in that feminine space a little bit more and be a little bit softer. And I definitely think I do have protection walls up still. And I don't necessarily know how I'll bring them all down, but you know, the process of continuous improvement, if you like, is a lifelong pursuit. You're never going to just be like, oh, I've arrived to this now new person. And even though you will hear me say, I feel like a completely different person than I was, I am still refining, you know, who I am, what I want. And you never know what's going to happen. Yeah. Life. And it doesn't even matter how privileged other people perceive someone else to be. Everybody's got something heavy that they're dealing with.
100%. That's the thing. And it's not something you talk about. You don't just come out and, hey, my name's Aista and here's my traumas. You know, it's not something you openly discuss, especially when it's that vulnerability within yourself, right? So with regards to yourself, look, I think you're going to have those walls there for a while, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that, you know, from that perspective, but it's just like, what makes you feel safe? Like almost like looking deeper in like what makes me feel safe, where do I feel my best, and naturally that energy is going to start radiating off you, and that's when you start attracting different people, you start having different conversations naturally with time. But you also have to remember 2025 only finished about 30 days ago, so that's still true. Fresh.
That is very true. It's still fresh. It is still fresh.
Still very fresh. But thank you so much for coming on. We'll wrap this up here, but I suppose just to sort of leave everybody a little note, do you feel like for yourself, like, the end of 2024 was such a challenging time for yourself? I don't want to ask it in a way, was it worth it? Because it's never going to be worth it from that perspective, but like now looking back, do you see the bigger vision and sort of like in looking back in hindsight, like that's what was meant to happen for me to get to where I'm at today?
100%.
Yeah.
And it's more than that. It was worth it.
Yeah.
I would
Love it.
I actually would go through it all over again because it's made me who I am.
Yeah.
And so regardless of the outcome of course, this is a great outcome. I live in Dubai.
Yeah.
I get to work with incredible people every single day. And, you know, I get to do something that I'm passionate about and I love. But more than anything, I would go through it all over again, just on the basis because of the lessons that I've managed to learn to make me who I am today, which has then shaped me into these things that I want and desire and I believe I can actually achieve, which I think is massive. And it's the same with my past, which I know we didn't talk about much, but my childhood, a lot of people would look at that and go, that's really, really difficult, that's really challenging. And again, I wouldn't change any of it. Would not change a single thing.
I love that about you, because this is the thing, like, you can victimize yourself or you can grow through the pain, essentially, right? And you can look back and be like, yeah, different cards are being dealt to different people, and that's fine. But you can either sit in that or you can be like, what am I actually going to do to make sure that I come out the happiest version of myself, right?
Yeah. And the thing is, society now, they love to validate emotion. They love to validate and say, yes, it's okay for you to sit in that pain and not do anything
for
about
a short
it.
period of time.
You've got an excuse. Yeah, you've got an excuse, and you can keep giving yourself excuse. So you went through hardship, so of course you can sit and do nothing about it. But who does it hurt? You. Who does it continue to hurt?
You.
Exactly. So get up
and fucking fix it.
Create the life you want to live.
But it's so true. Look, I'm not saying in any way, you know, yes, if you're feeling the emotions, you need to sit in those emotions and go through them.
Yes.
Sit, feel them, and let them go. Because the longer you sit in it, the longer your life is going to stay in the exact same way that it has been. And if you're feeling miserable, if you're not happy, if nothing's moving forward for you and you're constantly wondering why me, it's because you're not holding the mirror up when it comes to that, you know. But anyways, we will wrap this up here. Thank you so much for coming on. Honestly, very insightful conversation. And thank you everybody for listening, and I'll see you all next week.